it's me, Grady, and today I'm going to show you how to make one of the best cubes in the world, a 1x1. So now you make a very good 1x1. First off, you're going to need a cube to start off with. I recommend a dice or something. I'm going to use this foam cube. It's 1 inch by 1 inch. Hashtag I live in America, so Imperial. So after that, if it's not black or white or primary, what you're going to do is spray paint it black, which I'm going to do real quick. It's going to take like 10 minutes or something. But I'll be right back. And by right back, I mean like in 20 minutes. But not in this video. Like less than a millisecond. I'll be right back. Okay, I could not get it painted, and markers don't work because they take up too much. So also, what you're probably going to need to do if you have something like a foam block like I have, or something that's just really unstable, you're going to need to get some duct tape. You're going to need to get some duct tape and just put a side on it and then just cut around it so you know you don't really mess it up. And then I'm going to be making a stickerless one. So in the video I'll show you how to make a stickerless one, but if you want to make a standard cube, like a standard 1x1, what you would do is you would go and like just paint it black, and then you can print stickers or you can make stickers, which is what I'm going to do. So I'm just going to get 2 layers of duct tape for each of these real quick. See ya.
Of different cartoon characters to sell to advertisers. Unfortunately, Bouclé's characters were rejected pretty often, and after a couple of years, come 2007, Bouclé decided that it was time to leave Studio AKA. And coincidentally, around this same time, animation titan Cartoon Network was just launching a new studio based in London, Cartoon Network Studios Europe. And at the recommendation of one of his Studio AKA co-workers, Bouclé decided to apply for a job at this new studio, which he totally got. Being hired by CN Europe as a development artist, helping others within the studio pitch their shows to the network. But naturally, helping other people pitch their shows will get you thinking about show ideas of your own. And eventually, Bouclé was given the opportunity to make a pitch himself. Now, remember how I said Bouclé had a ton of rejected characters left over from his commercial days? Well, for this pitch, Bouclé decided to go green, I guess, and recycle nearly each and every one of them into a single new cartoon idea. Hitting pretty close to home for Bouclé, his pitch to Cartoon Network was all about a remedial school for rejected cartoon characters. Basically, it was going to be about all of Bouclé's failed cartoon pitches learning how to be proper cartoon characters. So you had a ton of totally unrelated characters, all created for different projects and purposes, coming together under one concept. Needless to say, this gave Bouclé's pitch a pretty distinct look and feel that the producers at Cartoon Network were very much interested in. But unfortunately, the actual concept of the show didn't really fit with what CN was looking for at that time. But no worries, Bouclé quickly retooled the concept, making it more of a family sitcom than an introspective look into personified versions of his past failures, and CN gave it the go-ahead to enter development. And thus, Bouclé's show entered a decently lengthy 8-month-long development period. Like I said, his original concept concept was basically scrapped, and he now had to expand upon his new concept and develop new stories. Plus, looking at even the earliest development footage of the show, it was pretty visually ambitious. But despite the show's lofty goals, Bouclé's series, known simply as Gumball, was eventually approved for full production, becoming the very first Cartoon Network Studios Europe series to be greenlit for TV. Fast forward to May 3rd, 2011, and Bouclé's series, now known as The Amazing World of Gumball, was officially premiered on Cartoon Network. This series followed the lives of the Watterson family, Richard, Nicole, Anais, Darwin, and of course Gumball, and their adventures in the town of Elmore. And with basically every character being a different rejected design from Bouclé's Studio AKA days, the show naturally had a pretty unique art style, in that it didn't really have a singular art style. Half of the characters were traditionally 2D animated, while the other half were 3D CGI, and some were even live action or puppets. Meanwhile, the show's environments were photorealistic, giving the whole series a surreal Who Framed Roger Rabbit look to it. Let me put it like this. Do you remember those bumpers that Cartoon Network used to play back in like 2004? The ones where Billy and Mandy, Ed, Ed and Eddie, and Hi Hi Puffy Yami Yumi all lived on the same CGI city block and like crossed the street and stuff? Yeah, Gumball was basically that, the show. And even for season 1, Gumball already stood out amongst other cartoons on the network, and not just for its art. At its core, the show was primarily a school and family-oriented comedy, but the nature of the show's off-the-wall universe could make even the most stereotypical sitcom storyline fresh and exciting. Like getting your sister's favorite doll back from a bully who also happens to be a T-Rex. You see what I mean? So between the show's unorthodox premise, relatively unknown creator, and animation that required the efforts of like 4 different studios, it's safe to say that The Amazing World of Gumball was kind of a risk for Cartoon Network. And yet, they had full confidence in the show's potential, renewing the series for a second season before the first season had even premiered. And in the end, it all more than paid off, for The Amazing World of Gumball was a pretty immediate success, receiving critical praise and ratings in the millions. But things were only just getting started. Today, The Amazing World of Gumball is in the middle of its 6th season. And while the show has remained unchanged at its core, over the show's 7-year run, it has gone through its fair share of evolutions. The art and character design has been tweaked, Gumball and Darwin's voices have changed a couple of times, shout out to Junkie Janker, and most interestingly, the show has become far more self-aware. Gumball's stories have gone from being about fitting in, growing up, and getting lost in the woods, to being about the Wattersons fighting their Chinese knockoffs, Gumball and Darwin slowly realizing that they're actually living in a TV show and messing with the freaking fabric of reality. It's like meta to the point of being existential. Not to mention, the show can actually get pretty dark. Case in point, the season 5 episode The Puppets, which was co-written and directed by Becky Sloan and Joseph Pelling, the creators of Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared. And I think that's all I need to say for you to get the idea.
It's your turn with the balloon! The fun will never end!
The Amazing World of Gumball has built up quite the positive reputation. But all that said, the show's future has proven to be sort of uncertain. On September 7th, 2016, Ben Bouclé took to Twitter to announce that The Amazing World of Gumball would soon be coming to an end, with season 6 being its last. However, not even an hour later, he clarified that he would be leaving the show at the end of season 6, but that it's, quote, not necessarily the end of The Amazing World of Gumball, implying that the show would be continuing without him. But then, very recently, on March 27th, 2018, Bouclé returned to his Twitter saying that he had an idea for a Gumball movie, maybe even two. Of course, a single tweet from Ben Bouclé doesn't mean that the Amazing World of Gumball cinematic universe will be launching into theaters this holiday season. But all in all, it seems like Gumball's future beyond its current season is pretty hard to predict. But even if the show ended today, that wouldn't change the impact that Gumball has had over the last 7 years. Before the series premiered, Cartoon Network was attempting to transition out of a really odd point in its history. After years of things like Destroy, Build, Destroy and Out of Jimmy's Head, which were the exact opposite of what the channel was known for, Cartoon Network was suddenly giving us the likes of Adventure Time, Regular Show, and The Amazing World of Gumball. Shows like these not only brought animation back to the forefront of Cartoon Network, but they were also unlike any cartoons we had seen before. Like, seriously, what other show can you think of that looks and feels like Gumball? I mean, it might not be as popular or iconic as Adventure Time or Steven Universe, but between its unparalleled art and animation, relatable cast of characters, and humor far ahead of its time, The Amazing World of Gumball very much holds its own against the competition and has more than carved out its own place in Cartoon Network history. Can you tell I like this show? 'Cause I really do. But you know what bugs me? This scene. Just look at Richard trying to shave. Do you see the struggle he's going through? It drives me crazy. If only he realized that it could all be so much easier with today's sponsor, Dollar Shave Club. I turned into Jerry.
For people like us that don't know anything about building a website, WordPress.com makes it really easy.
Hello and welcome to another episode of A Brief History. Today's episode, Gravity Falls. Ready, set, go! June 5th, 2008. Children's TV channel Cartoon Network premieres the first episode of, honestly, one of the weirdest shows in its history, Thorup Van Orman's The Marvelous Misadventures of Flapjack. And while not one of the network's most celebrated shows, Flapjack turned out to be pretty much the starting point of the massive cartoon renaissance of the 2010s. Flapjack's crew included the likes of J.G. Quintel and Pendleton Ward, who would go on to create Regular Show and Adventure Time respectively. But these two weren't the only people on the Flapjack team who had bright futures ahead of them. Case in point, Flapjack writer and storyboard artist Alex Hirsch. After graduating from CalArts in 2007, Alex Hirsch worked on Flapjack between 2008 and 2009 before getting a call from Disney executive Mike Moon. Having been impressed by one of Hirsch's student films, Moon offered Hirsch the opportunity to develop a show for Disney Channel. And when the mouse makes an offer like that, you take it. Which is exactly what Alex Hirsch did, jumping ship over to Disney Channel to co-develop their 2010 original series, Fish Hooks. And while he was given a good amount of creative freedom while working on Flapjack, Hirsch's time on Fish Hooks allowed him to spread his wings a bit more. Alongside his role of co-developer, Hirsch also acted as a writer, storyboard artist, creative consultant, and even voice actor. But there was far more to Hirsch's move to Disney than just Fish Hooks, for he was also given the opportunity to pitch an animated series of his very own. However, having grown up on more adult-oriented shows like The Simpsons, Hirsch hadn't really thought much about creating a show for kids. But he had been kicking around this concept that he described as Twin Peaks meets The Simpsons, which eventually came to be known as Gravity Falls. Taking heavy inspiration from Hirsch's own childhood, Gravity Falls was all about a pair of twins named Dipper and Mabel Pines who spend their summer vacation with their great uncle Stan in the mysterious town of Gravity Falls, Oregon, where they come face to face with all sorts of spooky, supernatural happenings. Bit of a tangent, but I can't help but notice that a lot of my favorite things take place in Oregon. No, seriously, Gravity Falls, Gone Home, Life is Strange, freaking Coraline, all Oregon. Should I move to Oregon? Nah, probably not the best idea. That place got gnome armies, time-traveling teenagers, and evil demon spider moms. Anyway, Disney liked Alex Hirsch's pitch, and just like that, Gravity Falls was greenlit for full production, eventually premiering on June 15th, 2012, exclusively on Disney Channel.
Heyo, I'm Jake Paul And you're watching Disney Channel.
Now, typically, most TV shows premiere one new episode a week throughout a season. And while Gravity Falls tried to do this, it didn't really last long. The first 12 episodes of its 20-episode-long first season were aired on a semi-weekly basis between June and October of 2012. But the remaining 8 episodes were released pretty sporadically between February and August of 2013. And while an inconsistent broadcast schedule like this could have spelled doom for some other show, luckily, Gravity Falls wasn't just some other show. From just its first episode, Gravity Falls already managed to stand out from the crowd with its incredible art and animation, clever comedy, and a story that wasted absolutely no time getting into the mystery and building the intrigue. Which I'm not gonna spoil, so don't panic, dudes. All of this on top of stellar music and voice acting made Gravity Falls an instant hit, with each episode of season 1 bringing in anywhere from 2.5 to 4 million views per episode. Viewers immediately latched onto the series, and the fan base quickly began to grow. So naturally, a second season was pretty much inevitable. But much like in the show itself, this is where things get a little more complicated. You see, in early 2014, it was announced that Gravity Falls would actually be moving from Disney Channel over to Disney XD. But the show was not going to be exclusively on Disney XD. New episodes would be set to premiere on XD, while Disney Channel would air reruns. Even though the season premiere and a later episode in the season both premiered on Disney Channel first, and why is everything about this show so confusing? Anyway, the second season of Gravity Falls premiered in August of 2014, and right away, things seemed to be hitting the ground running. This season seemed far more plot-driven this time around, as the show finally began to offer up answers to its mysteries, while also offering up new mysteries to take their place. Each episode truly felt like an event, and part of this was due, once again, to the show's unusual broadcast schedule. You see, each episode of the show took about 6 months to produce. And rather than mass producing the whole season and then releasing each episode in regular intervals, the Gravity Falls team instead decided to release each episode as they were completed, leading to, again, a pretty sporadic broadcast schedule, with gaps in between episodes that could last anywhere from a week to 3 months. Still not as bad as the Steven Universe hiatus, or the freaking Odyssey that is waiting for a new season of Sherlock. But despite all of this, by this point, fans were more hooked on Gravity Falls than ever. The shift to Disney XD did lead to the ratings taking a bit of a hit, but to fans, that didn't matter a bit. The show was only getting better and more intense, and we were ready for more. But then came the fateful day, November 20th, 2015, when Alex Hirsch took to his Tumblr and other social medias to officially announce that Gravity Falls would be coming to an end, with season 2 being the final season. Which was definitely sad news, but the important thing to note here was that the show was not getting canceled, nor was it ending prematurely. It was reaching a natural conclusion. The series came to an end on February 15th, 2016, with an epic double-length finale that tied up pretty much every loose end in the show, giving fans something that is pretty rare in the world of cartoons: a satisfying ending. Most cartoons are typically canceled way too soon, or are stretched out so thin and for so long that they just lose that edge that made them popular in the first place. But as if Gravity Falls didn't stand out enough already, it chose to experiment even further by aiming to have a set beginning, middle, and end while not outstaying its welcome. Alex Hirsch has said himself that he wanted the show to encapsulate the events of one childhood summer vacation, and summer ends. Childhood ends. Gravity Falls ends.
So what's the point of doing anything? In the grand scheme of the universe, do I even matter?
But I'm getting sad, so let's move on. Despite ending in early 2016, the popularity of Gravity Falls will no doubt...
Okay guys, it's Computer Grady. I'm just gonna set up a new session. Don't care what this is. It's going to be 1 by 1 by 1. Okay. It has it. So x2, z2, x prime, y2, z2, x2. Yeah. Okay. Inspection. Okay. awesome. Alright, let's scramble it up. Totally looking at it. Okay. Right. Okay. Ooh, so close to a PB. Okay. Okay. Okay, alright. PB, boy! This boy got his PB. Okay. Okay, one more. Oh, you got like 2 more songs. Totally scrambled it. Okay, I'm ready.
8 seconds.
Oh, so close to a PB. Okay. Scrambling up. So last solve. Okay. Oh, it's actually a DNF. I didn't even pick up the cube. So my total average was 28. Was 0.282. That's a pretty good average. I've seen cubers get worse with 1x1s. So yeah, that's my video on how to make a 1x1, how to solve a 1x1. I'm just gonna teach you that. Well, what you gotta do is you go look at it. You hold it down and pick it up. It's solved. Done. Very simple. Okay. Yeah, there's my thing.